got the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California has won the big game. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnop.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vine, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech Football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Rick Watson's got the mic, he's the big dog king. Cover sports so sharp, it's a New River thing. Virginia Tech fire, rapid pride too. Every stat, every play, he's bringing it to you. He's got that voice, deep as a valley, breaking it down, no dilly, no dally. Big dog sports talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Rick's in the zone, every day, every night, from the Hokies to the Highlanders. He's got the spark, Big dog sports talk, lighten up the dark.
I think I'd rather be warming up the dark, as cold as it's been over the last few days. But hey, we're back to now just sub-human temperatures as opposed to anti-human temperatures. Good morning. How are you on a Tuesday? Hope you're well, wherever you might be. Hit us up on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line or on the Professional Door text line, 391-0788. Marva in Miami here in about 40 minutes. Marty Smith and Steve Ragsdale scheduled to join us in hour number 2, so we're looking forward to that. Their monthly stop by. And we just always kind of let that go whatever direction it goes in. And then Mike Burnop today on the program. It's a good show. Following up a really good show yesterday. We had a lot of fun. Tell you what, got a lot of response from both Coach Elmation and Coach Grantham. Just some of the things they were dropping, man. You learn so much. I know I do. I hope you do. I know I do. Learn a whole heck of a lot from those guys. We think we know stuff, and we realize we don't. Or at least I do in my case. You hope you know more, and then you find out that you really don't. But that's okay, because learning is part of the whole journey, no matter how much older you get. So, yeah, good stuff. Good stuff from those guys. And good stuff again today here on the program. Look for, I don't know when it'll happen, but I think probably today. If not today, definitely tomorrow. A couple announcements with Virginia Tech football and their staff. Danny Rocco, the VMI coach, is going to step down. It might be today. And he worked for James Franklin, I think, 4 or 5 years at Penn State. So look for Danny Rocco to leave VMI and join Franklin's staff. And also Norval McKenzie is going to come from Georgia Tech to be the new running backs coach. Elijah Brooks was dismissed. That kind of surprised a few people. It looks like the only 2 coaches who are going to be retained, Fontel Mines was a long time kind of a given. Matt Moore was not really a given, but when a couple other guys that Franklin looked at went elsewhere, I think he circled back to Moore and kind of always left that door open. So getting a little bit of Tech staff news out of the way early But Coach Rocco is going to, I think, resign today, and you're going to see an announcement he's going to come to Blacksburg. Tough to be the ball coach at VMI. I respect it, but it's tough. You know, all the academies, we just watched Army, Navy, and then you know, I won't say I don't want to word it like a lesser program, but it's not an academy. VMI is the same exact type of rules and everything in place. But a good move for him. A good move for him. So, yeah. So, good morning, everybody. Hey, Stephen, how are you? TLB. Yeah, it's a heat wave. Yesterday we were here. It was, what, 8 or 9. And today it is 25. We were supposed to get up to 48 today. That's awesome. We'll take it. We'll take it. But Bo Creed's still in the developmental process. Still no surgery. He has been shaved on that shoulder. I did get that done yesterday. We have to wait for the right moment once the situation gets there. He's been very grouchy. I think it's causing him more discomfort this time. But nothing yet. Nothing yet. Appreciate everybody asking. 28 now in Virginia Beach. Wow. You're going to get up to 50-something today, Christopher. You're going to get up to 50-something, man. Good for you. You're the hot spot of the day. Well, Marva, when Marva joins us, she will be. She's probably looking at 60 already this morning down in Miami. Oh, well. Oh, well. It's all about proximity. Yeah. But, yeah, I think, you know, apparently I was talking with Will Stewart yesterday, and it's unfortunate, but all local media has been shut out by James Franklin. Not only is the Merriman Center been put on lockdown, that those guys have no access. And Tech Sideline functions as a, you know, a site, a website that has to have access. So I don't know when that is going to change. I can't imagine it'll be permanent. Andy Bitter's got to be frustrated. Chris Coleman, all those guys. Damian Sordelette. We're going to have Damian on tomorrow to talk about it a little bit. But, you know, it's interesting. And I'm following Damian on X, and all he can do is just retweet. Apparently all the information is coming from Franklin's camp, is going to this, what's his name here? Matt Zenith. Matt Zenith, who's a national senior reporter. He must have a relationship with Franklin. So it looks like all the local guys are being bypassed, and all the information is going to Matt Zenith. So I don't think that's a good. I agree, TLB. I don't think that's a good thing. That's not a good start. That's curious to me. Very curious to me. Oh, there we go. It feels a lot like Justin Fuente when he got here. Yeah, $20 million. We're never going to be told what that money will go to, but we're assuming it'll go to football players. Yeah. And I think it was probably already known to Virginia Tech that money was coming, which is why that number was at 219 was asked, Joseph. So I don't think it surprised anybody at Tech. They just didn't release it. But that was a lot of dough. So they wanted to get that out there. You know, it's all planned when you release information. Momentum, right? Where what? To say it's the 16th, the portal is January 2nd. So money coming in that gets out very quickly to these. Hey, let's just say it. These players have agents. They have handlers. Look at the way we're talking about this. I think I'm going to write about this in the Patriot this week for Mike Williams. This is professional sports, right? And I think we all know that. It's not surprising. This is just professional sports. No less than, what was it yesterday? From Sunday to yesterday, what did I see? 12 to 15 starting quarterbacks, many from power programs, putting their name in the portal because much like the NFL, they understand that's the premium position and they're going to get the most money. And so they're getting out there early. And I guess this is a question I have to ask anyone who donates. If you donate to Tech, whomever you donate to, if you spend money on tickets and merchandise, I mean, how much is enough? Because your loyalty is counted on every year. And these guys that you're paying for, their loyalty can only be counted on for 1 year, right? 1 year at a time. And I know that's the way it's trending, and I know it's the norm, so I'm not acting surprised by it. But when you sit back and you look at it, you just go, man, this is not what this is supposed to be. I think I'm going to write about it this week. But all these quarterbacks making their intentions felt, hey, I'm out there. And the thing is, with what we just saw and just what was a record-setting offseason for coaching movement, right? What did I see? 20 coaches, major jobs, counting power jobs and G5 jobs. Was it 20? 20-some coaching jobs turned over. So there's little to no job security there anymore. You have these massive buyouts. Yeah, where's Wayne? Hey, that's a good question. Yeah, Wayne, he's a donor. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just asking the question. Minister of propaganda? Perhaps. Big Al. Good morning, Big Al. Apparently communicating to the fan base and being a winning football coach is an impossible combination for Virginia Tech. It has been during the Whit Babcock era. Let's just say it the way it is. You had a Hall of Fame coach, and I know it's once in a lifetime, Frank Beamer, who is still one of the most generous people with his time that you can think of that's in that status. And he never once, that I know of, told anyone that they couldn't have access to his program. And this is when Tech was perennial top 15, always in conference contention, during and post Mike Vick era. So why, when you get here, are you immediately shutting out? And I'm not talking about us. I never once had any idea that Franklin would ever agree to come on this show. He's going to go on shows that, you know, people that he knows, people that are going to support James Franklin 100%, right? I mean, that's just the way it's going to be. Good morning, Prometheus. How are you, brother? Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, as I said, yeah, I think this was all just, you get that out there now, and guys see that, handlers see that, puts Tech on the forefront, right, of their minds, of their destinations. But with all these quarterbacks out there, I know there's no excuse why Franklin can't find a really good starting quarterback for his first team, right? There's a lot of guys out there, and they will find one. I don't know who it might be, and information may be difficult to come by unless it's released by those guys themselves, the quarterback themselves, or maybe Matt Zenith, because apparently it's on lockdown over there. And look, you come in and you're the new coach. You have the prerogative to do that. It's your prerogative, right? It's his choice. And for me, I'm just thinking about those other guys. I'm thinking about Damien and Will and Chris and Andy, all those guys. What are they going to write about? What are they going to do? So we'll see if this stops anytime soon. It's just interesting to me. It's interesting to me. But I do expect those two coaching spots today to be announced, at least Coach Rocco to be announced. I don't know about McKenzie, the running backs coach, but I do believe he's going to come to Blacksburg. He's another guy that has previous Franklin ties, and that's been the constant theme so far. You know, that's been the constant thing. Yeah, right about basketball. That's not going to sell subscriptions. Yeah, I know what you're saying, Chris. I get it, but Tech Sideline has survived for 30 years and was built on Tech football. Writing about Tech basketball is not going to keep it going. They need football access. And there is a lot to write about. How's the coaching staff feeling out? How is the adjustment going? There's things that you can find out about. That's what I'm wondering, if this is just temporary and then when things start going in the portal. But I can imagine that when you're making your runs in the portal, you're not going to want that publicized either. It's just like bidding for free agency in the NFL. You're going to try to keep things on tight quarters, right? I know NFL teams do it all the time. They put out false information, guys they're bringing in for visits. They may have another guy they're looking at, especially on draft day. But even in free agency, they do the same thing. So who's going in the portal? Who's been encouraged to leave is another topic I think Tech fans would be interested in, right? Those discussions are probably in progress or have already been had. Who's leaving? Who's been encouraged to leave? I guess eventually we'll see their own posts on X. Where's that process? There's a lot of questions we don't know. And I'm just going to ask Mike Burnop about all this and see what he thinks and see what he's hearing about it all. Good morning, Opal. How are you? Hope everybody's doing well. God, it is really December 16th, isn't it? I could not be any less ready for Christmas. It's true when your kids are all out of the house, and my son is back for college, and immediately he has a car that had already broken down, his car. So he was driving another car that he'd borrowed. It broke down yesterday. So I get a call about midday. Hey, I'm here on the side of the road. Can't get the car going. It was cold yesterday, so I had to go get him, bring him back. He's been back 2 days, and I'm already chasing him down on the highway. Glad he's back, but TLB says it's a recipe for cutting off donations and decreasing ticket sales and sponsorship. Money talks. Yeah, I would say it's going to rub some people the wrong way. But if everybody who's drinking the Franklin Kool-Aid is still on board, they're going to just give him, hey, whatever he wants to do, man. If he wants to cut people off. And I'll be interested about that question, not only at Tech, but nationally. The money coffers are going to run out, right? So either we've been lied to for so long, which is probably the case, about the hardship, we don't have enough money. I'm not just talking about Tech. I'm just talking about all across the country. Because the money keeps showing up. Phil Amation said they've got the money, right? These buyouts make no sense. Actions and the numbers we're seeing make no sense for the constant cries of poverty. And, we can't keep up. We need more money or we're going to become have-nots. Well, I'm starting to think that the whole thing has just been, just like anything else of that nature, like we get from the media and government and everything else, we're not being told the true story. Because you see what coaches are signing for, you see what coaching staffs are making, you see the buyouts as these coaches and schools are willing to pay. And then you see the money that's going out, especially from the power leagues to these premium position players. I mean, you're talking about, I've seen estimated what you're going to have anywhere from $40 to $60 million football rosters in 2026. Think about that for a second. 30 has seemed like a lot. Texas Tech spent 30. Here they are in the playoff. Well, that's going to be chump change. Tech's going to have 30. Well, heck, next year, 27, they're going to have to go up to 50. Right? Just the cost of doing business. When does the money run out? That's the question I ask. And I generally want to know because I keep thinking about it. How much more can you stretch out asking donors to give? How much can you keep raising prices on all the premium things, right? And you just expect people to give it to you hand over fist. And how long are fans going to sit there and go, when are they going to start going, wait a minute? So we're getting a bunch of kids. We're going to spend $40 million on this roster. 3/4 of them are going to be here 1 year and then they're going to leave, if not more. And you're asking me for how much more money? So what does it mean to the fan who done? I'm curious because I don't know the answer. right? We used to be invested in kids, and I'm feeling it at Radford, right? We had kids who would come as a freshman, and you knew they were going to develop and be there. And, you know, now this year we entered in the NIL. I don't know how many of the current team, you know, good kids. I don't know, but I don't know how many of them are going to be back next year, right? If they just, you know, trying to improve, if they have eligibility left, if they have big years. I mean, Dennis Parker Jr. just put 53 on the board on Sunday. He's got another year left. I'm sure he's going to get power attention, right? But I mean, for those of you who donate, have you just accepted the fact that for the most part, all these guys, are they true Hokies? Are they true Razorbacks? Are they true Longhorns, right? We used to take pride in these guys coming through and just adapting the way and making this their home. And the educational part, don't ever hit me anymore about the educational part. Do we hear about it at all? Todd Grantham talked about it yesterday. Is that even a factor in any way, shape, or form? $34 for water and a beer. Is that true, Paul? Wow. Wow. TLB says when the Kool-Aid sours, the closet door will be unlocked, and then Tech Fan will begin calling for heads roll. Yeah, that could happen. That could happen. Prometheus says, I'm not donating until I see something on the field. We still have Wit and Pry, right? So I'm skeptical. Yeah, that's probably the best mindset. And I'm just asking a question. I'm not passing any judgment on anybody. It's your money. You can do whatever you want. But when does it become something that you question? Yeah, Paul, I saw that. So TJ Finley, quarterback at Florida, apparently John Summerall just came right out and laid out some stuff for him. He didn't like it. So he's going to the press saying, oh, I had a bad meeting with the coaches. And Summerall's just like, bye. Remember in Tombstone? Just want you to know it's over. We're leaving town. Well, bye. So he's just leaving because he didn't get along. He didn't like what the coaches had to say. So I'm going out. I'm going to play for another school. How many will that be? 4, 5, something like that? Yeah. You can't use the term student athlete anymore in big time football, basketball, because that's not what they're there for. When's the last time you heard a player, coach, administrator use the term student athlete, Big Al has? Yeah. Good point. Good point. Because it's not about any of that anymore. And there's a lot of old school donors, right? A lot of old school donors. They came up during a different era. It's going to sound silly, but school spirit, school pride. Like one of the collectives is called what? The Hokie Way. Yeah, Skin and Bones. Yeah, bring back a 45-year-old. Yeah, Colts, Phillip Rivers. Good for Rivers, but that is a huge indictment on the league, man, that a 45-year-old can start and have his team in position to win a game on the road against a really good team. Yeah, yeah. So that's just my question for everybody. I mean, we saw 12 to 15 starting quarterbacks leave programs. It's going to be a one-year deal at most. How can people continue to look at this any other way, but just understanding this thing has gotten out of hand? And when, not if, does the bottom just completely fall out? And how much are you willing to continue to give of your own money to support just 1 year, in all likelihood, of these players in football and in men's basketball for the most part? It'll happen in other sports too, but those will be the two that are highlighted. These kids, exactly, Joseph, they've replaced the desire to get the degree with this is their payday. This is their NFL now, because they know they can't rely on it, and maybe they don't want to do the work. It's hard to develop into an NFL player. And maybe they feel like if they're going to make their millions now, they don't have to worry about it. They can finish college. That's why you're seeing more and more guys apply for extra years of eligibility, challenging the NCAA, because NCAA knows it's going to lose any lawsuit. There's no authority. I mean, I don't even know why. Why do we even still have supposed rules to follow? Because there are no rules to follow. All right? There's just none. There's just none. College football is killing the NFL. Kids playing for 4 different coaches can't be good. You know, that's a great point. Smartest audience in YouTube. Been talking about the decline of the NFL, right? And it's really been noticeable over the last 3 or 4 years. And what's been going on in college football the last 3 or 4 years, right? Coming out of COVID, the NIL, all the dancing around, leaving programs, learning new systems, not developing, no dedication to develop. So they come into the league and, yeah, they might look pretty good as a senior wherever they ended up, but is that a true body of work? Great point, Prometheus. And it's probably frustrated the talent evaluators in the league a little bit, right? So we don't see quarterback development in the NFL. That's why Phillip Rivers, as Skin and Bones said, that's why Phillip Rivers is getting a chance. So that's my question, because this is going to be one and out. Tech got $20 million. No announcement how it's going to be distributed. We can guess it's going to NIL. Again, this was money that the PR that they put out there. They knew this gift was coming as part of the $219 million ask. So how much are you going to give for one and done players? Whomever James Franklin signs out of the portal, you know, whoever any program signs out of the portal, probably 75% of them are going to go back in the portal the next year if they have eligibility, unless they can negotiate a new deal, which is what we're seeing now, right? I saw it again yesterday. It's just disgusting to me. You can talk about all this other stuff, but when they're showing the kid sitting there with a new contract in front of him, he's re-signing with Texas. Hey, I'm going to re-sign with Arkansas. I got a new deal. That's what they're saying. Hey, I got a new deal. I got a contract extension. This is where we are. You enjoying that, college sports fan? The mushroom theory of football: no communication to fans, don't ask questions, donate money, and buy grossly overpriced merchandise and concessions. I think it'll be more than 2 million, Wayne. Yeah, I think it has to be. If you're going to get one now with all the guys going in, that's going to become a $3 million position. You watch. We won't know. We won't be told honestly how much. But why are there still compliance conversations in college sports now in this free-for-all? What rules could possibly be broken at this point? TLB says, in truth, this type of stupidity is not limited to college sports. It seems to be everywhere. Correct. Yes. Football rosters now are completely the kind of money they want to invest. Yeah, they're not looking at anything but, okay, this is what we have, and this is who we can go get. And that's been the case for a couple of years. It's not new. You know, exactly, Al. What compliance is there? I don't know. Yet they're still on every campus, and we still hear about it. And the NCAA will still throw out penalties to certain programs, which I don't understand. I mean, you'll see them from time to time act like, hey, we still got some authority here. There aren't illegal players anymore. Right? there aren't illegal players anymore. Thanks to Family Fencing, sponsor of our studio here in Reiner. Give Jason a call. Jason Green, 540-200-8294. They can get out today and work. They got calls yesterday. They were out there yesterday, 9 degrees, taking estimates, giving estimates. Free, by the way. They have payment plans available. Mark Hunley, now he's inside where it's warm. McClellan Chiropractic. Go in there and see Mark. You have a back issue, whatever it might be, let him fix you. He will. He's great. Bob Christ, the Ready Set Fund. It's working for people. I've tried to turn on people. I've gotten a lot of text messages about it. If you have an organization, it doesn't have to be sports. Reach out to the Ready Set Fund. They have a text message plan ready for you. They help raise $4,000 for Floyd County softball. They help out all sorts of organizations. BobChrist11@gmail.com. He's the brother, of course, of Dave Christ, the great Hall of Fame football coach. I don't think diplomas are even part of the equation anymore. These kids don't care. Yeah, who is going to regulate it at this point? Yeah, I don't blame Arch Manning. Of course he's going to return to Texas. He made $6.5 million last year. He's not going to make that in his rookie year in the NFL. He's a Manning. He's already got all the money he's going to need anyway. Thanks to Lawson's Mobile Home Supply since 1997, located at 300 North Franklin Street in Christiansburg. They've manufactured home parts, windows, doors, plumbing supplies, plus installation, 5403-818011. Thanks to Brandon at Top Shelf Apparel. Of course, he presented our T-shirts. If you want a T-shirt, hit me up, $20. I'll ship them to you for $30, no matter how many you order. Don't forget Marty Smith and Coach Ragsdale, presented by Farm Bureau Insurance, coming up 7 o'clock. Thanks to Travis Williams, Professional Door Incorporated, residential commercial garage doors, family owned and operated, 38 years, sponsor of our text line. Go buy your next vehicle at Harvey's GM in Radford. Go see Brad Harvey. It's the holidays. You may have to get a vehicle for your significant other or your child. Thanks to Larry Ramsey, National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of BDST here on YouTube, my exclusive banking partner for the last 35 years. Wow. Ryan Pry, the attorney, sponsor of our BDST fan question of the week, 701 West Main Street in Radford. I guess here it is. It kind of presents itself. Are you going to continue to donate? If you're a booster, if you're not even a booster, just somebody who contributes to the program, are you going to continue to do that given the environment of college athletics in the one and done era? Little River Heating and Air is 1095 Radford Street, Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. Go see Charles Lee. Warm. It's cold. You need him, though, because he can take care of it. My house feels great thanks to him. We're presented each and every day by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Appreciate Tim Miller jumping on last week. Can't wait till the weather starts to get warmer so we can see all these things in motion, and the big sportsplex is going to be up and running and ready to go. And thanks to everybody at NRB Super Bowl. Thanks to Terry and Amanda. They have spent a lot of money to make that one of the premium places in this area to go and have a great time. They have late night bowling. They have league nights, and it's a great place just to go out and just hang out. They are terrific. Absolutely terrific. Thanks to them. Yeah, Diego Pavia, you talk about a guy who's unfortunately shown his true self off the field to the point to where now he wasn't going to be drafted anyway, I don't think. I don't think he has a position. I was talking about this with Grantham yesterday. You love the way he plays. You love what he brings to the table, but the way he behaved at the Heisman ceremony and the things that he's done since, I don't think he has a position. I think he's just too small. There's nowhere else he can play. So, yeah, he will not be – I don't think he's going to be drafted. Plus, you know, with what he has shown, the mindset he's shown, I don't know why any team would bring that in. I mean, Shadur Sanders fell during the draft for a reason, and he's shown his true colors many times. Yeah, he won't be drafted. Yeah. Manning probably teaches a class at Texas on how to get the most money from NIL. Yeah, he could be. Hey, Tebow, good morning. If I'm making $6 million a year, why would I ever want to go to the NFL? Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. And that's what these guys, I think, are thinking. I really do. Plus, he's, Peyton Manning's son. He's never going to want for money in his life. Yeah, I did too. I knew Pavia was brash, and I know he's got some shady family members, but it showed up on the field, right? You really appreciated that when you watched him play, but to see how he's handled himself, man, it's got no use for it, man. I can enjoy the player and what he was, but what he's done, man, that is just, wow. It's unbelievable. It really is. Sanders fell to a perfect team. That's right. He fell to your Browns, didn't he, Wayne? Yeah. You had to have him. And boy, he's played so well. He's played so well. He has. Morris is here. I saw Morris. I think I missed his intro, though. Where are you, Morris? Yeah, from Steve Ragsdale's porch in Parisburg to Marty Smith's sideline microphone in the Deep South and now glued listeners in Palm Coast. BDST is live and online. There you go. Sorry, Morris. Didn't mean to miss your open. But yeah, I'm just curious to see how much this continues. I mean, anything Tech is doing, you have to do to stay in business, to get to a certain level. It's just happening. So they're not being singled out. I'm not singling them out, but they are the local Power Four. And we're seeing what they're doing. I don't know how much the money's going to last anywhere. I really don't. How can it? And how much do you have in your coffers? How much have you lied to people about money when you just have all this money to cover everything? There's always money. People wondered how Tech could ask for the 219, why that number? Well, they knew this 20 million they announced yesterday was going to come. It was strategically placed. It's a smart move. You're getting ready to have the portal. Those discussions are going on now. It's not like you have to wait until the day or two before the turn of the calendar. I mean, you're negotiating right now. Just like in the NFL, when you can negotiate and then there's an announcement period, not all free agent deals are announced. Once they're done, you have to wait a certain amount of time. I'm not sure how much it is. It's maybe 48 hours, 3 days. I don't know. But you can't afford to wait. These negotiations are going on right now, and maybe that's part of the reason Tech's on lockdown over there. Maybe that's why the football building is not speaking to anybody, but apparently this Matt Zenith guy. I don't like the fact that the local media who cover Tech has been locked out. It's not a good look, but maybe they're just afraid of all this getting out. You want to have private discussions. And I'm not trying to make excuses for them in any way, shape, or form, but just trying to look at it from both sides, So here we are. And I don't know, but quarterback after quarterback yesterday. Yes, Marva, that's fine. That is fine. We'll see you at 6:50. We will see you at 6:50. Marva needs 5 more minutes. I'm guessing that means she's probably got kid things going on. That would be my guess. We'll have Marva for about 10 minutes, and then we'll segue into Marty, and Rags. Looking forward to that as always. Yeah, the NFL model is here. It is. Yeah, 20 million. Yeah, out of nowhere, whoever that is. Yeah, it's true. They can write it off. That's a good point. Absolutely. They can write it off. But it's different, man. It's different. Virginia Tech signs Phillip Rivers for class of 2026. Yeah, you're right. I misspoke. He's Cooper's son. I did say that wrong, didn't I? Not Peyton. But either way, he's never going to want for money. Now he's making over $6 million at Texas. I don't blame him. He's not an NFL guy anyway. Unless he just has that as an aspiration, right? He's set for life and beyond, man. So $229 million over 4 years announced at Tech. Additional infusion to athletics. 54% or $120 million is supposed to be an additional. Okay, so over half of that's supposed to come from donors. So you announce, in other words, this money is not unaccounted for. This is money that they knew was coming in. No, this $20 million wasn't out of nowhere. This $20 million was already budgeted. Let's put it that way. Yeah, this $20 million was part of the ask. And as Tebow said, there's rumors about another big donation coming in. And I'm sure it's part of what Al just talked about, the $120 million, the 54%. So you've already knocked out $20 million of that. So it's just weird, man. It's just weird. It's just weird. I'm going to let Marty and Coach Rags know that that the invites have been sent. There we go. There we go. So here we are. We won't get much information going forward, at least for a while. And we'll see if Mike Burnop has any new information since everything else has been shut down. Yeah, I know, Wayne, but the old no guy doesn't qualify for that money because it's not a surprise. I mean, if you're going to play the old no guy, it's got to be legitimate. That $20 million didn't just get added to what Al just mentioned, the $120 million. In other words, they didn't just pick that $229 million randomly. They knew what was already promised. It's not like they were sitting around up there in the athletic offices or the presidential office. Oh, look at that. They got 20 more million. We didn't see this coming. No, they knew it was coming. Now, they strategically put it out there, which is smart. Right? Especially now during negotiation. Which leads me to believe that just about every penny of it is going to go to NIL. I think it's why we like the Army-Navy game so much and what it represented. Yeah. Tebow says some people think that $20 million will be used in the portal. That's not the case at all. Then where's it going to be used, Tebow? Did they tell you where it's going to be used? I'd like to know. Where's the $20 million going to be reported? Going to go to? Like, I don't know. They don't have to tell us. That's the problem. Like, there's no rules in place. Yeah, we have to talk. We had to talk about that with Marty a little bit. We will. As he was just following Lane all over the place. He's been all over the place. I think he was at the Heisman ceremony too. Yeah. Like, they're not going to tell people where the 20 million's going, right? Unless you have some inside info, Tebow. Have they announced where money's going? I haven't seen an announcement about where any of this money's going, other than what Al said, General Athletics funding. I mean, they don't have to announce it. No department really has to announce anything anymore. Right? Arch will have Peyton and Eli's financial team invest all of his NIL money. Feels like a team will draft him late as a project. I don't know. He's got a lot of development to do. We'll see. Really, what did they say? Where did they say, Paul, that it's going? Say that happened this morning? I mean, how did they find out where? Unless it was leaked to them, they could have had it leaked to them because they're being very strategic about who they're giving information to. Where did they say it was going? This is why the chat is so good, because you guys bring knowledge and info, latest information. I don't watch WSLS, so new football front office, Olympic sports. Yeah. Not surprised that there's going to be changes to the front office in terms of like how it looks and the appearance and things like that. If they don't know what to do with the money, I'll be glad to take it off their hands. That's good stuff. Yeah, they're going to update facility. I'm saying, but all the money is going to go to football. Well, not all. Most of the money is going to go to football, and hopefully some to men's basketball. Women's basketball, we'll see a trickle, and then as you go down the list, other sports will see some. Hopefully, that's the way you envision it anyway. But baseball is getting expensive too. And baseball is a sport at the collegiate level that doesn't, in too many places, have any kind of return on investment. There's only a handful of programs across the country that make any money off of baseball. But it's the market out there. Talking to Alex Square, our coach at Radford, it's just ridiculous. And he monitors all this, and he's close with the Virginia Tech coaches in Virginia and across the country, South Carolina. I mean, the money out there, some of those guys are, I think it may have been LSU's baseball team. The average salary for the, whatever it is, 30 players was like $60,000 each. That's the average salary for baseball in the SEC. How about that? So, but most of it's going to go to where the money comes in, and that's football, and that's men's basketball. Sorry, I'm texting Marva right now. Doesn't look like Marva's going to make it in here. No, it's disappointing. But that's okay. Schedules get in the way, especially when you have young'uns running around the house. I get it. Coach Ragsdale and Marty Smith going to join us here momentarily. Empower James Franklin and athletic programs to build top. Well, right here it says, wait a minute. It says exactly what I said. Officials said that the gift will empower new head coach James Franklin and other athletic teams to build top teams. Right. Fueling student athlete success. Fully funding nearly $20 million annually in student athlete scholarships. I'm just reading it out loud here. In other words, this is just a press release. Okay. No problem, Marva. Hey, no problem. I hope things go okay with the kids. No worries. No worries. No worries whatsoever. I understand. We'll reschedule later this week. She's got some kid issues this morning, so that's no problem. No problem whatsoever. I get it. I get it. Well, we wait for Marty Smith to join us here on the program. Time now to be joined by that gentleman. He is the coach, Steve Ragsdale. Coach, how are you? Good morning.
Hey, I'm doing good. I'm just sitting here thinking, listening to what you're saying. I'll go down to South Carolina and shag foul balls. That $60,000 is more money than I ever made or came close to making teaching high school math. So send me down south.
Did you ever think, Coach, we'd be talking about athletics in this light? I mean, we always knew it was big money at certain levels, but what we've seen now, this is just, I don't know, man. It just gets a little bit discouraging. What are some of your thoughts now that you're, out of it, if you will, but I know how closely you still follow it?
Well, I haven't kept up with all this, transferring and all that. I don't even know how that works and not interested in knowing it. I think it's, in general, I don't like it. You got pro sports, which is fine. I hate to see college athletics turn into pro sports. It seems to me, I don't know how you coach somebody that can turn around and within a year be playing for somebody else. So those are kind of my thoughts in general. You have some of these people claim, okay, you got a bunch of kids playing a sport, and they're on scholarship, and then people say, well, they're not getting paid and they're getting taken advantage of and so on. I don't see it that way. I mean, you're getting paid via your scholarship, and if you can graduate from a college or university, then that's paying off over the course of your lifetime. Go out there and get you a good job if you're not a professional athlete, which most college athletes don't turn into professional athletes. So go out there and get you a good job via your college diploma, and have a good life.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my feelings on it, and so I'll leave it at that. I don't know enough about it other than that to really talk about it.
Do you think, just hypothetical, let's say you were coaching college ball, do you think you would be one of the coaches? We see all these coaches that are leaving the profession or going to be coordinators. Do you feel like this would be something you'd be interested in at all, this new environment, if you were at a school?
No, I wouldn't. Like I said, I don't know how you coach a kid that can turn around and leave, if you're not playing him enough, or he or she thinks you're not playing him enough, will up and leave. And maybe they're 1 year away from, playing full time or being a star or whatever, where they're at. But so you've got to push athletes to get the best out of them. I think it was, I used to read a book every year by some great coach. And I'm thinking it was maybe Tom Landry I read a book on. And he said the essence of coaching is getting people to do things that they don't want to do. So how do you pull that off if they can up and leave in a heartbeat, you know? And I agree with him. You know, you got to get them to do things that maybe they don't want to do. And some of them realize that you're pushing them and everything like that for their own benefit. So yeah, I wouldn't want to be involved in that. Of course, I was happy doing what I did, and
sure.
I was, and people a lot of people don't realize this, and I know it's not like this over all the country, but here in the state of Virginia, you're a teacher first and a coach second, and that was always my philosophy when I first started coaching, which was in the fall of 1975. We had a 6-period day, which was pretty much normal everywhere. And I taught 5 classes of math. I was a math teacher, and I enjoyed teaching math. And I always had the philosophy, and I took this approach. Math is my first job, not coaching. My main contract was for teaching mathematics. And then I got an extra stipend for coaching, whatever. At that time, I was the head basketball coach and the 8th grade football coach. Okay. And I'm going to tell you, I've still got my contract in there in my desk.
Oh, that's cool. That's very cool.
I'm going to give you one guess how much money my first contract in 1975 was.
1975.
Yes.
Your first contract as a teacher / coach.
I got to hear this.
Mr. Smith.
Thank y'all. Good morning. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas, brother.
All right. I need to hear Coach pontificate on his first annual salary at Giles High School.
Okay. What do you think, Rick? I'll give Marty a guess too.
Wow. 25 grand.
I'm gonna say $14,700.
Hey man, I'd be rich now if I made anywhere near what either one of you are saying.
What was it?
My first contract for the teaching part of my job was just under $10,000.
Wow.
It was $9,000 some odd dollars. Okay. But it was under 10,000. And then I got a stipend for coaching of, I don't know what that was. It wasn't any more than like a couple of, $1,000 or $2, if that much, barely, essentially not, but I wasn't doing it I wasn't coaching for sure for the money. And obviously I wasn't teaching for the money. And, but I enjoyed both things and was able to have a good life. And I never bought the best car. I never got the biggest TV. I never got the fastest computer. I lived within my means, and now I'm retired and I got plenty of money to do whatever I want to do. I'm not rich by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm good. I'm happy. If I want to go to Florida this winter, I'll get in my car and go. Okay. And if the weather stays like this, I may very well do that.
What's the temperature up there, Coach? I'm actually up there later today.
Not last night, but night before last. I guess that was Sunday night. The low here was 7 degrees.
Yeah. Felt like minus
when
10.
I woke up, it was 9 degrees. So,
hey, it matched your number, Marty. We had 9 degrees yesterday.
Yeah,
bro.
there you go. There you go. I guess that has something to do with what, ESP or something. I knew I was going to be seeing Marty today, so the temperature was 9 degrees when I got up.
So $9,000. All right, you're making $9,000 to teach a bunch of farm boys and young ladies advanced mathematics.
Yeah, and that included one class of physics. I was also endorsed to teach physics, which I kind of did on an on and off basis. It depended on the, whether there were enough kids that wanted to take it. And then later on, they started governor's school, and the kids that would be physics students went to governor's school, most of them anyway. So
guess who wasn't a part of that contingent?
Let's see.
Basically, everybody you coached except for, let me think of who was like super smart. I remember Stevie Steele being super smart. I think Matt McGuire was pretty smart. Mathematics, anyway. He had some deficiencies elsewhere. All right, so let's walk through the red Toyota. Okay, so so Coach had this truck, and still might. I don't know. You might still have it.
I'll go ahead and tell your story.
All right, so
story on the truck.
So Coach had this red truck, and it was like a maybe 1980 model, 81, somewhere around in there. 2-door. Well, back then they didn't have 4-door trucks yet. Toyota pickup truck. And it was red as hell. And man, when that thing came rolling up, the pucker factor for all of us was absolutely on tilt, because we knew we were about to go to work. And we didn't know, like, Coach had this amazing way of, with being such an authority figure in our lives, all he had to do was breathe to scare the hell out of us. So that old red truck comes rolling up. It's got like blocking dummies in the back of it and a lawnmower and, what, who knows what, his golf clubs. And then we'd get to work. But I've never heard I always heard it was a booster club gift.
No, not that red truck. That was
I was going to say, like, we aren't Permian High School. I don't see Buddy Garrity giving a coach a red truck. So all right, I need the entire VIN number history of Steve Ragsdale's Toyota.
All right, let me start out the red truck story. You may remember Hugh Mitchner, who ran the local, I guess it was Chevy dealership.
Was he Mike's dad?
Huh? He was Mike's dad. Yeah, Mike's dad. And there was another older brother who played 8th grade football under me my very first year. And he was an excellent football player, but he was an even better swimmer. So he ended up going to private school when Mike didn't. But Hugh Mitchner was Mike's dad, and Mike turned out he was a hard-nosed football player, I'm telling you. He almost got killed over here against Radford one night when their wide receiver, what's his name? Snell. His last name's Snell. I don't remember his first
Wasn't
name.
it Sidney Snell?
Not Sidney. Sidney Snell played for Blacksburg.
Okay,
and he was a great athlete. Sidney Snell was. The Snell boy at anyway, we were playing Radford here, and then I'll get back to the red truck, okay? But you asked me about Mike Mitchner.
That's right, we got plenty of time.
We were playing Radford over here for essentially what boiled down to the district championship late in the season, and they had the ball down near the goal line. And I can't remember exactly the play, but I remember the Snell boy cracked back on Mike Mitchner. Mike was our defensive end. And then they threw a little, I think it was like a little flare pass out there to Mike's side. And Mike turned to pursue that little flare pass, and it was too late for him to see Snell coming in out of his peripheral vision, and he cracked back on Mike Michener. I mean, you talking about, they use the phrase decleat, man. He decleated poor Mike. He was down for the count, and so we had to go help him off the field. But he did return. Like I said, he was a tough nut and a good football player. But anyway, so going back to the red truck,
all right.
Hugh Michener owned the dealership down there, and he was a great supporter. He would, if I went down and wanted some money to do something, he would do it. And our whole community was that way. We raised money. The concrete basketball court down below your house, Marty, at KJ.
The slab,
okay.
Man.
All right. Well, when I first started coaching, I was the head basketball coach and 8th grade football coach. And a guy by the name of Jack Williams, who just died here within the last year, was the JV basketball coach. And he and I did, he could do anything. He could build anything. He was in industrial arts. And so we got to talking, and we said, hey, if we're going to have a good basketball program here, and notice I use the word program, not team, okay? Well, I don't care what I'm doing. I don't want a good team. I want a good program, something that is year in and year out, all right? So if we're going to have a good basketball program, we got to get some places outdoors for the kids to gather and play basketball. So I went around the community, as did Jack, to different businesses and begging for money. And we told them what we were going to do with it. And, of course, Hugh Michener donated to that, as did a whole bunch of other great fans of ours. Tommy Davis down at Davis Radio and TV. And I could go on and on, okay? So we raised the money for this basketball court, and Jack was a jack of all trades. He poured the concrete, and he had some kids that were in a summer program that he was over top of and control of, and he'd bring them out. And so anyway, we put up 2 basketball goals and pour. I didn't do anything except raise the money or help raise the money. Jack did all the work with these kids. They poured the concrete, and we got some the guys that work for the school board, maintenance guys, they came and finished it off. And that's where those goals came from. And they lasted forever. I mean, they've put in some new ones now on a new court due to one of our former players. Todd, what's Todd's last name? Anyway, he played football for us. He played blocking back, and he weighed a whopping 150 pounds at the most, but was a hard-nosed little football player. So anyway, so Hugh Michener was a great supporter, along with a bunch of other people. All right. So one of my former basketball players, who's also dead now, it's unbelievable how many athletes that I have coached who are deceased. It's like 20 or 20 to 25. I'd have to sit down and write them all down and count it up, but I know it's probably at least 20. And but anyway, one of my former basketball players, a guy by the name of Clyde Woods, who had 2 younger brothers, Curtis and Chris, who were very, very good athletes, who played both of them played basketball and football under me. Because for 10 years there, I was the head football coach and the head basketball coach. So Clyde worked for Hugh Michener down at Michener Chevrolet. And his job, Clyde was a great kid, and he had just the knack for getting along with people, talking to them and everything. And so he went to Hugh. So I went down, I was looking for a truck, and And so Clyde went to Hugh and talked to him, and Hugh Mitchner asked him, well, what color is the truck that he's looking for? And Clyde said, well, he's looking for a few of them. He's looked at a few of them, and Hugh told him, you get a red one out there and I'm sure he'll buy it. So sure enough, I bought, and this was a used truck. It wasn't a new truck. It was a used one.
It was?
Yeah, it was a used one. And so I bought the red used Toyota truck. All right. And that truck lasted a long time.
It sure did.
I had a player that was injured, couldn't play for a whole season. Would have been one of our starting linemen, but he injured his knee. And but I said to myself, hey, I got to get this kid. He was just a junior that year. I said, I got to get this kid out there helping us, so he stays involved. So I talked to him about managing for us. Okay. Biggest manager I ever had. All right. And so he had a bad knee, injured his knee, and then had to have it, I guess, I can't remember this, whether he did or not, but I think surgically repaired. And then I had a couple other managers. If I had some good players like Rayfield and Maurice Milton, who lived right across the street from the high school, I made darn sure that I would get them out there helping out, if they lived, like particularly Maurice and Rayfield, they live close by. But getting back to the red truck, so for an entire season, I had about 3 managers sitting on the tailgate of that red truck. By the end of the season, that red truck had no tailgate. It was just dropping in the breeze.
It's gone.
The rear suspension was compromised a little bit.
Yeah. And then it kind of got where it wasn't running real good. So I got a couple of players over in vocational school who were in auto mechanics, to kind of tune it up for me. Well, they tuned it up. So I was coming up the road one day, and I had Margie, my younger daughter, riding shotgun with me. I'd picked her up somewhere, and it was pouring down rain. I mean, absolutely pouring down rain, and the truck died on me.
No way.
The red truck?
Way.
Coach, how many miles were on that thing?
I just kind of drifted it over to the curb, Well, we don't have curbs in up in our neighborhood. It's just over to the side of the road. And I said, Margie, get out and start pushing this. No lie. She's like in the 8th or 9th grade. So it's pouring down rain. And my younger daughter's out there pushing the red Toyota. And I'm trying to jump start it. So we couldn't get it started. So I had to just push it over on the side of the road. And that was the end of that. I went and got me the truck that I've got right now, which is a white Ford Ranger. That was also bought used because, like I said, I never did get the biggest car, the fastest computer, the biggest TV or anything. And we always had 2 vehicles because my wife was a nurse. And she'd get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go to the hospital to nurse. And so we always had one, nice car and then some other vehicle it would always be a truck, a small truck. Okay. I didn't need a big truck, but it came in handy, like you said, carrying dummies and lawnmowers and stuff like that. All right. And so that's the story on the red truck.
The red truck.
What was the mileage on the red truck when it finally met its maker?
Gosh, I have no idea. I had no idea. I got no idea now how, but I got the good out of it. It was a good little truck. I'll tell you. Well, right. And my white Ford now, it's got over 100,000. It's got like 102,000, and it's still running good. I'll run it until it
You got a
runs
long
out
way
of
to go.
gas too.
Yeah,
I don't know who I'm going to
100,000,
get
you're
to
just-
push it off the road for me, but
You're still in the layup line at 100,000, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
got years left.
you
man.
they ain't even tipped off yet.
yeah.
All right, so you
Hey,
mentioned
can Rick? Can I take just a few minutes here before we really get into some serious talking?
Yeah.
I just want to recognize a couple.
Absolutely,
people,
Coach.
okay?
Absolutely.
Yes, real quick. Like, won't take me but a minute or
No,
two.
yeah.
I want. First of all, I want to. Shoot, what's the word? Recognize Nathan Tanner. Okay, who played on our last, well, not our last state championship because that was under Jeff Williams, but under me, our last state championship in 2007, Nathan Tanner scored 2 touchdowns on our reverse play at James Madison to beat Manassas Park for the state championship. And they were on they had an undefeated season the year before. They won the state championship the year before, and they had a undefeated season that year. So they were on like what, 20, I don't know, 4-game winning streak or something. Okay. And we beat them by 1 point, in the state championship, and Nathan scored 2 touchdowns. Well, he's now the head coach at Princeton High School in Princeton, West Virginia. And they just won the state championship over in West Virginia Saturday night. And they won it 36-35 by 1 point. The other team went for 2, and Princeton stopped them. And by the way, he told me I didn't go to the game because it was up in Charleston. It didn't get started till like 7 o'clock. So I didn't go to the game, but I called him on Sunday, the day after the game, and he told me, Coach, you'd have been proud because we ran 44 for the 2-point conversion, and we made it, and that was the difference in the game. So,
does he run the wing?
Yeah. Well, no. He runs a spread, but he's got a little pack. He's got a little single wing package. I don't know how many plays are in it. We went up there earlier, me and Coach Kelly and Coach Williams and Coach Strader, the 4 of us, and saw him play Bluefield High School early in the season. And they ran 1 play out of it that night, and they fumbled and lost the ball. So, but anyway, they had a really good football team, good-looking football team. Secondly, I want to recognize Greg Mance.
Yes, sir.
Who played on our 1980 state championship game. Okay, the one that Jeremy Haymore wrote the book about. Okay, all right. Greg was also a wing back and a darn good one. He could run it, he could pass it. Well, he went to Virginia Tech and played baseball over at Virginia Tech. All right,
I never knew that.
And Nathan, I forgot to mention, he played wide receiver up at Concord. All right. So, both of them good all-around athletes. Greg played basketball in the winter. Nathan played basketball. Greg played baseball. Like I said, he played baseball over at Virginia Tech. Okay. And then for years, he coached at Richlands High School and was then as an assistant coach, and then became a head coach up at Richlands. And I'm thinking they won maybe a couple. I'm not sure about the number, but I know he won some state championships at Richlands. And then he went down to Loris, South Carolina. All right. And as a head football coach there. And that's just outside Myrtle Beach. Okay. If you go down to North Myrtle Beach and you go through, I forget the name of the town down there, but you'll see Loris on the map, on the signs to go to Loris. Okay. Loris. Well, they had a 13-1 record this season and got beat in the state semifinals. Okay. So in South Carolina. So I think that was the semifinals down there. Okay. All right. So Greg had a great season. And then our girls volleyball team. Okay. Yep. They they lost 2 games, lost 1 game to Blacksburg, 1 game to Radford. And played in the state championship last weekend, and they won the state championship in volleyball, which is not easy to do in this area, because Auburn, Rick, year in and year out, has a really, really good girls volleyball team.
Yes, they do.
Okay, and but Giles was able to get there and win the state championship there. And then finally, Giles, our football team this year under first-year coach Sam Wright, okay, which he coached before Jeff Williams got out of it, okay, I think on the JV level. And then when Jeff got out of it, then he became the head coach. And they went 8-3 this season, and they got beat, I think, in the second round of the playoffs. So I just wanted to, mention those people, and then they had really good seasons. So I'll shut up now. And
it's good stuff. That's good stuff. Marty Smith, Coach Ragsdale, brought to you by Farm Bureau Insurance. And Marty, my goodness, where have you been? Everywhere.
Oh yeah, man, nobody needs to hear that crap. I've been.
You've been everywhere.
Well, I put this on paper yesterday, fellas, just to kind of get my eyes on it a little bit and really get my hands around what I've managed here, and my beautiful wife has managed, and my kids. And I'm pretty intentional about the way that I operate professionally, where it intersects my personal life. And the number one job I have in this life is dad. And I want to be, despite the fact that it's a demanding, challenging, incredibly rewarding profession that I've been afforded by the good Lord and by people who believe in me, and through a lot of effort and being kind to people, I am very, very purposeful about presence here in my home. And so that requires extra flights, because I don't go assignment to assignment unless it's absolutely impossible to have an alternative, right? So I was looking at this yesterday. All right, I'm going to go fast here.
No.
Thanksgiving was 19 days ago as we sit here, okay? Since that day, which I left that afternoon to go to the Egg Bowl and then on to Oxford, where I, went through the Lane Kiffin Marathon and all that. All right, here we go. Charlotte, Atlanta, Birmingham, Starkville, Mississippi, Oxford, Mississippi, Memphis, Charlotte, Atlanta, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Birmingham, Charlotte, Nashville, Lynchburg, Nashville, Charlotte, Oklahoma City, Norman, Oklahoma, Oklahoma City, Charlotte, Newark, LaGuardia, Charlotte, Memphis, Oxford, Memphis, Charlotte.
That's just the airports.
But yeah, that doesn't include the driving. That doesn't include the actual work that I was commuting for. That's just an idea of the airplanes. And, in that time, saw Georgia dominate Alabama in the Southeastern Conference Championship. Then I went over to Tuscaloosa and saw Alabama rewarded for their body of work during the season and be awarded a position in the college football playoff. They have a heater on Friday night in Norman against John Mateer, Brent Venables, and the Sooners. I was just down there, as I stated, to sit down with John Mateer. Coach, by God, you would love this kid. He is tougher than hell. He had so in the first month of the season, running Ben Arbuckle's offense. So Coach Arbuckle was at Washington State, only 29 years old, and gets hired by Brent Venables to come to Norman to run that offense. Mateer was his quarterback at Wazoo, backed up Cam Ward, the number one pick in the draft by the Titans at Wazoo, by the way. Transfers to Oklahoma. First month of the season, we're all saying, my goodness, this guy's going to win a Heisman Trophy. He was just lighting people up. And then he had a substantial thumb injury, which is the main reason that I went to Norman to sit down with John to really learn what he really managed there. And I'm going to tell you something, the vulnerability and detail and presence with which he shared that injury and everything that came with it, mentally and emotionally, not just physically, was incredible for a 20-year-old young man. I mean, I have a 20-year-old son, and I think about this often. Like, man, I can't imagine sitting across from my son and him being able to detail that way. And I say this all the time, gentlemen. The most underreported and underappreciated part of collegiate athletics is the quality of the young people playing the games. Unfortunately, in a transactional moment, we look at so many of them as assets, not human beings. And I am so thankful that through College Game Day, I have the opportunity to learn their truths and then be a good steward of that truth and sharing their stories. And so that piece will air Friday on College Game Day. That's in College Game Days in Norman Friday and College Station Saturday. And then I was in Oxford again yesterday to sit down with Pete Golding, the new head coach, who was the defensive coordinator, was elevated to the head job after Lane Kiffin decided to leave for LSU. And Coach, you would love Pete too, man. He is all ball and a phenomenal dude. He's going to do great in Oxford. Players are all obviously bought in and locked in on finishing the job. I mean, look, they've been playing Ole Miss Rebel football for 132 years. This is the first 11-win regular season ever. Genuinely an historic moment for that program. Even in spite of the fact that Kiff decided to go to Baton Rouge and coach the Tigers. Interesting time. Yeah, I've been all over the place, man. And my word, I'm grateful for every second of it. It's look, coming from Giles County and coming from Appalachia, I always had these massive dreams. I was always fearless to see myself and visualize myself as someone that was successful. But you don't realize in that moment, because you're too young, how imperative it is to have people that see something in you, even that you can't. And there's been so many of those people on this journey for me. Not just in television, but in athletics, in life, in classrooms, in lab, in every season and segment. And on that note, like coach is most certainly one of those people, and not just for me. Coach and his staff. There is no doubt that a lot of us, at least I can only speak for the guys that I played with, there were many of us that played scared for a long time because of this back of our mind anxiety that we were going to let our teammates down, our coaches down, our community down through failure. And it took a lot of time, but it worked. Genuinely, every play has a life of its own. And you cannot get in a mindset that looks at totality or scoreboard or triumph or failure. Everything has to be that next 6 seconds. Every 4 to 6 second play is its own life. And Coach was brilliant in getting us to believe that. And on that note, this is a perfect segue. I want to read something. All right. You guys know I had the great Stevie Steele do a testimonial last time we chatted. This is one of those guys that I was just talking about who didn't believe in himself. And he played in the defensive backfield with me in 1993 when we went undefeated. His name's Bucky Burton. He's a great American, obviously all name team.
Bucky Burton.
And I had Bucky, Giles High School class of 94, write me his perspective on Coach's influence on his life. This is what he sent me. I grew up not really knowing my father. Coach Ragsdale was one of the most influential people in my life during my adolescent years, both as a coach and as a father figure. He was the person I most wanted to make proud. He was tough as hell on us and demanding, but that's because I know how much he believed in every single one of us. During summer lifting, Coach Ragsdale saw how much my 40 times and my vertical jump had improved. He told me to quit training like a second stringer, and I'd have a good chance at starting. During a scrimmage at Tazewell, Rayfield got banged up, and Coach Ragsdale called on me to replace him on first-team defense. I was scared to damn death, but went out and played well enough to keep the starting job. He stayed on my ass about tackling skills constantly. In our first game against Blacksburg, I laid the wood to a receiver on a pass play. He didn't write this, but I hope it was Shane Beamer. Went to the sideline, and Coach Ragsdale said with a grin, "I'm glad you finally learned how to tackle, son." He saw me throwing the ball over 50 yards to J.C. Riggs during warm-ups before we played Bland, and he said, maybe we can use that one day. He put me in at wingback and said to throw it as far as I could to Patrick Steele and let Patrick run under it and catch it. It came out looking like a wounded duck. Nowhere remotely close to Patrick. That was the first and last pass of my career. And finally, even after the good and the not so good things that I did, Coach Ragsdale always made a point to congratulate me after every game and told me that he knew I could start and excel on the field. I will forever be appreciative of what he did for me growing up, and he has a big hand in the man that I am today.
Well, thank you for that, Marty. I appreciate that, and thank you, Bucky. Let me say a little bit about Bucky. When Bucky was like maybe a sophomore, freshman or sophomore, at that time our weight room was down underneath the school in what initially was part of the basement and was designated as a fallout shelter if and when there was I'm not lying.
Coach, I know. I'm aware. I was in there.
This goes back to the 1960s when I was just a kid.
I got to paint a picture real quick. All the way to like the warning signs, y'all. Okay, like
there was
like hazmat warning signs as we entered the weight room.
Yeah, well,
asbestos snow falling from
let me give you the background on that. See, these schools, Giles and Nares High School, the two high schools in Giles County, were built, in the early 60s. Well, you all aren't old enough to remember, but I can remember the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I was alive and old enough to understand what was going on. Now, I may not have understand the whole implications of that, but we were right on the edge of nuclear war. All right. I can remember riding in the back seat with my mother and an uncle and aunt of mine going to Radford to the football game between Nares and Radford. My dad was the head coach at Nares, and he had a heck of a football team that year. All right. So we were heading to the game, and I remember my mom and aunt and uncle talking about the Cuban Missile Crisis. We were right in the middle of it at that time. So nuclear war wasn't something that was some far-fetched idea. It was a real possibility.
Sure.
Well, the uncle that I'm talking about had built a fallout shelter. It was not a bomb shelter. It wouldn't withstand a bomb, but it was a fallout shelter. There were pamphlets you could get that showed you how to build them. So he had built a fallout shelter in his basement. My dad, who had a double first cousin, my dad was born and raised on a tobacco farm in Lunenburg County, Virginia. And he had a double first cousin who was a tobacco farmer down there, who went out on his farm, and he built a bomb shelter. It was a bomb shelter. It was underground, had ventilation that came out of the top of, out of the ground, that they could literally go in and live for a certain period of time. Okay. Now, how did I get off on the
I don't know, man, but it is so fantastic.
Oh, I was talking about the weight room.
Nothing you're saying is funny by nature.
But
because you're saying it, I can't stop laughing.
All right, listen. So every building that could withstand, that could be a fallout shelter, at least a fallout shelter, and maybe even a bomb shelter, was designated as such. And there was a sign on that room or building. It was black and yellow that said, I don't know what it said, fallout shelter, bomb shelter, or something like that. And they were designated so people knew, hey, if there's a nuclear war, this is where we can go. All right. Well, that's where our weight room was. It was downstairs in what had been designated as a bomb shelter, because the walls down there were solid concrete. And, so there was a ramp that went down into that bomb shelter, okay, concrete ramp. So that's where we lifted. And really, it was a good weight room. There wasn't anything wrong with it. And I had some men that Mr. Collins and Ralph Hall, a guy by the name of Ralph Hall, had helped me come in and frame it out and everything like that. I mean, I don't know how to do that kind of stuff, but they did, and some of our coaches and everything, and we painted it up, and heck, it was nice. And and it had been used before. I wasn't the first coach that used it, but we kind of spruced it up a little bit. But I can remember Bucky coming down there lifting as a 9th or 10th grader. And I mean, he was just a little runt. I mean, he probably weighed 130 pounds. You wouldn't know it was the same person if you see him now versus then. He is a real man now. I mean, he is muscular as he can be.
You're giving him a lot of credit.
So anyway, but I can see Bucky right now over there in the squat rack doing squats as a 9th or 10th grader, and that brings up a point. You don't ever give up on a kid in high school as to what they can potentially do, because they can change overnight, and some of them do, and Bucky's a prime example of that. He was just, like I said, he was little and everything. Well, he stuck with it, and we stuck with him. He came on up through the ranks, 8th grade, JV, on up to the varsity. And by his senior year, Bucky was a good athlete. He was strong. He wasn't super fast, but he wasn't super slow either. He could move around. And he wasn't scared. And I'm going to tell you, the main thing in football is to have kids that are tough. And I was telling Nathan Tanner on the phone the other day, and I was giving him an example. I said, if you got to get out there in the hallway and you got to talk to kids and get them out for football. And that was one of the secrets of our success, is once we got the ball rolling with that 1980 state championship, the fans bought in, the student body bought in, the faculty bought in, everybody bought in, and kids wanted to come out and play football. But you got to get out there constantly in the hallway. And I'd have Coach Williams and Coach Kelly every year make me a list of kids that were in PE. They taught PE, and they'd make me a list. I'd say, hey, I want a list of 15 to 20 of your kids that you teach on a daily basis who you think can make in each grade, 8 through 10, who you think can make good football players. And they give me a list, okay? And somewhere along the line during the rest of the year, school year, I'd make it a point to talk to them. And I may have talked about one of those in a previous interview here. But we had kids like that. And the thing with football is if you can get a kid out, well, heck, fire. I mentioned Curtis Woods. Curtis Woods came out my very first year, and we weren't very good, to say the least. I'm bragging on the team. We weren't very good. We started 5 sophomores, and at that time we were in the New River District, and it was tough night in and night out. And our out of district games were with the Southwest District, so you're playing the Tazewells and the Grahams and the Abingdons and whoever, Virginia High, and I mean it was tough sled, every night. And anyway, but in football, now you can't do this in basketball. Basketball is a skill game. You got to have skills, good hands and everything like that. But you don't need good hands to play nose guard. All right. All you got to do is get down there in a 4-point stance. And in our defense, you either slant right or you slant left. And that's all you got to do. You go and then you chase the football. If they run up in the bleachers with the ball, you run up in there and tackle them. And we had a bunch of kids that did that. I had one kid that played nose guard for us, and I've never seen anything like it. He could run full speed, bent over in a 90-degree, position.
Who was that?
His back. He was a Sutphen kid. His last name was Sutphen. I can't recall his first name. Okay. But he was a heck of a nose guard. He was quick He was small. But we always wanted a nose guard who was quick and could run and tough, because he's going to get double teamed in there. And that's what we wanted. We wanted our nose guard. We wanted our nose guard to force the guards on either side to block him. And then hopefully the center would be blocking him as well. And so he could tie up 2 people. And if the guard didn't block him, then he was quick enough to beat the center. Okay. And so all he had to do was get in there, beat the center, and then run like a wild man after the football. And that's it. And that's pretty simple. That doesn't take much skill. It takes quickness and speed. And you can think of anybody. Cecil Austin in 1980 was Cecil. Every time I went downtown or went out to school, I saw Cecil riding his bicycle somewhere. He rode his bicycle all over Giles County, probably into Montgomery County. All right. But he could run like the dickens. Rodney Freeman's another example. And I could go on and on. All right. And so in football, there are positions where you don't need great skill. You don't necessarily need to be super duper fast. But if you're tough, if you like it rough, and these old farm boys, that fit right into our MO. All right. I mean, we had a bunch of kids that are tough nuts, 170, 180 pounds. We weren't usually very large. We had some teams that had some big kids on them. Well, our last state championship team, we had a big front line, but that was heck. Our first state championship in 1980, we had maybe one lineman who weighed over 200 pounds, but most of them in our offensive line had played in the backfield in Little League, and they could run and they could move and they were tough. And shoot, I go from one end to the other and name every one of them right now. And most of them were like 170, 175, 180, 185, but they would knock your head off. All right. And they could move, and in our offense, we're pulling and trapping and going downfield to block, and ain't no zone blocking going on in our thing. All right. You're blocking down, you're trapping, you're pulling and leading around the end. So I want guys who can move, and, so anyway, I don't know how I got off on that, but football's a game. There are a lot of positions out there where you don't need a skilled athlete. We were talking about Bucky Burton. That's what. Well, Bucky was one of those, and he stayed with it. And by his senior year, he was starting in that secondary over there. And by the way, Lunenburg Central scored a touchdown running right on his side. But
third play of the game.
Yeah, like it was the first series touchdown, 60 yards. Okay,
Michael Hurt, number 5.
But he and Bucky did a great job for us. So
I would argue you're right. He wasn't scared in terms of the contact. He was definitely a physical defensive back, but I can speak for him that we both, and neither one of us admitted this to each other until our adult lives, but as 17-year-olds, we entered every game feeling very prepared. It wasn't that we didn't feel prepared, because you guys were incredibly detailed about what the opposition was going to do, what our various keys or reads were, where we were supposed to be, when we were supposed to be there, all of that. That wasn't we were just, both of us entered every game with some anxious energy because of that naive fear that we would be the reason that this amazing opportunity was vanquished. And look, we've talked about it. And that's interesting, isn't it? Because it's like Coach Saban always says to me, and especially when I was doing sideline CEO, you have to enjoy the journey, because if you enjoy the journey and you're doing everything you're supposed to do every day within that journey, then there's joy in the accomplishment, not relief in the accomplishment. And there's joy in the journey, not anxiety in the journey, because you're worried about outcome. And if you're worried about outcome, are you really thinking about what you have to do in order to achieve the desired outcome?
That hits, and that's one reason. Nick Saban was one of my coaching, I'll say, heroes. I loved listening. I never got to listen to him live at a clinic or anything like that. But I was talking about our girls volleyball team, okay? And I was invited to speak to them briefly the day before they played their championship game, okay? And this is what I tried to drill into our football teams, okay? Just exactly what you just said is you cannot perform to your capability if you are thinking about the outcome of the game. Don't go in there and play in the state championship game or any game and have it in your mind, oh, I hope we can win. Or worse than that,
I hope
we don't lose.
Yeah.
And it doesn't only apply to the players, but it applies to the coaches.
Right.
I would occasionally, like, let's say we had a big game coming up, okay? I would catch myself thinking, oh God, I hope we can win Friday night. Oh, damn, I was just uptight as a dickens. Oh, I hope we can win. And then I'd catch myself and say, you shouldn't even think about winning and losing. You should be thinking about what you got to do to make that happen. All right. You go into every play of every practice and you're thinking about, what have I got to do to get the job done, to get better? And I used to tell you all at the beginning of every week, and this goes back to my dad. Somebody asked him, well, I've heard him talk about this. Somebody asked him, hey, Coach, what did you tell your team on Monday afternoon after a big win on Friday night? He said his response was, I tell them the same thing I told them last Monday. It doesn't change. And I used to tell you all every Monday, okay, our job this week is to prepare for Team X, number one, and number two is to get better. We got to get better. I don't care if we won or lost, we got to get better, okay? And so that's what I told these girls getting ready to go play volleyball, and don't think about the outcome, because you can't spike the ball well up to your capability if you're uptight. You got to turn it loose. It's talking about my dad in high school. I was playing basketball. And my dad was principal at the time, and he'd sit down on the end of the floor in an old chair propped up against the wall. And he would tell me, take the brakes off. You can't play with the brakes on. You got to push down the gas pedal to the floor. You can't play afraid that you're going to make a mistake. Okay, you can't play defensive back if you're sitting back there. Oh God, I hope they don't get behind me and score. Hell, I see that on TV every weekend. Stay back. Don't let them get behind you. And what do? Bang, 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 right down the field, throwing 15 to 20-yard passes because the secondary is afraid that they'll make a mistake. You can't play, if you're afraid you're going to make a mistake. You got to take the brakes off, let it go, and forget the scoreboard and let it happen. And you're going to get beat sometimes. But hey, to be at your best, that's what you got to do. Now, one more thing. I used to always tell you all one of the last things that I would tell you over there in that ag shop was this. And this boils it down. You can't do any more than this. Do what you've been coached to do.
And do it all.
And do it all out. And mix in a whole lot of enthusiasm for what you're doing and spirit. And what else can you do? That's it. That sums it up. Do what you've been coached to do it all out, and do it with a lot of energy.
And that's life.
Okay. Yeah, that's life.
That's life.
It makes me think about several things. All right. It makes me think about going back to Coach Saban for a minute. When he was coaching Bama, and Coach, you're not alone. And Coach just got inducted into the National Football Foundation Hall of Fame last weekend, and they asked me to do a testimonial video for him. They asked several people in his life to do a testimonial video. And I said to him that when I lost Daddy in 2008, there was a very unique compass that I lost in my life. And so I had met Coach Saban and started really working around him closely about 5 years after that. And Coach really rewrote for me. I've always been a try-hard. Effort was never a problem for me in any phase of my life. But Coach rewrote for me the daily demand of self-accountability in order to maximize opportunity, and truly impacted my daily walk on that level. And it's interesting because when he was coaching Bama, the goals pyramid in the Alabama football facility did not say win the SEC championship. It did not say win the national championship. It said be a champion. Are you doing the things every day and every play in order to be a champion? Because if you are, you probably have the opportunity to win a championship. But if you're focused on the championship, are you really doing the things every single play and every single day and that require that focus and that dedication and that drive in order to maximize the opportunity? It's an inside-out approach. And he was brilliant psychologically, Coach. You were too with us, but like Coach is the most brilliant psychologist, and you know who he passed it on to? Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart now does that at the University of Georgia. And as you were talking, it also made me think about there's a book called Chop Wood, Carry Water. And there's a philosophy in there, fall to your training. Whether that's military, whether that's athletics, whether that's the corporate world, whether it's a boardroom, if all hell breaks loose, fall to your training. It's why you're doing this every day. It's so that it becomes muscle memory, so that it becomes the context and repetition of your daily journey. And I've nerded out on this stuff. I could go all day long, but it makes me, while you were talking, Coach, it made me think of a specific play. You won't remember this play. All right, we're playing Lunenburg Central in the state championship, December 14th, I think 14th, maybe 11th, 1993. Giles High School, -10 outside. We are winning the game late in the second half. We had really shut down their very adept rushing attack. They had 3 very good, very tough running backs and a really good quarterback. Well, windy, very windy. And they had run like 3 consecutive dive type of plays with Roger Gales, number 34. Great football player. Sidney Chapman takes the snap, play action, fakes it to 34, and they'd run a wheel. They'd run number 5, Michael Hurt, on a wheel down the back side, down our sideline on my side of the field. And you guys had prepared me for that. But I'm going to tell you something. He had about a half step on me. And when that football was in the air, I was scared to death. Because it was, again, one of those plays where you can taste the dream. You begin to let yourself think we might actually deliver a state championship to this town and to this man that we all love and adore and admire so much. And then while that football's in the air, you're like, oh, Lord, here we go. But I was able to just sneak my hand in there at the last second, poke that ball out. Because I had been warned, because I had been told, I don't know if you guys had seen that play on tape. I don't know if you knew, but Bucky and I were both taught that day or going into that game, be prepared and be disciplined in your third. Or if they're going on, that 2/3 over top. But always keep your eye over here just in case they run that wheel down the backside. And they did, and thank you, Lord Almighty.
Well, if you recall, now let's go back, okay? I've started doing something the last few years that I didn't do earlier on in my career, and that was I would take specific players at specific positions, like when we're drilling our offense, like on a Monday, we were always going to drill our offense. God almighty, we ran those plays over and over and over and over again because it takes repetition. You know, if you're out there thinking, you ain't playing. I mean, you got to think, but you know, you can't go up there to the line of scrimmage if you're a lineman and now let's see, who am I supposed to block? Blah, blah, blah. You got to know who you're supposed to block. All right. And just automatic. Okay. All right. So I'd get Coach Williams while we were drilling the offense. Okay. And the reason I got Coach Williams is because he and I both worked with the backs. All right. When we would split up as groups. Okay. Coach Kelly had the linemen, he and Jack Ellison, and Brian Strader, he worked with the centers. Okay. And Jeff and I worked with the backs. Okay. So when we're running our team offense, we had Coach Ellison over there in command of the Friday night opponent, you know, in charge of that defense over there. And he was great at that. He'd get them in the huddle and get them all fired up and get them to do different things, blitz and whatever. Okay. All right. And then I had Coach Kelly, who coached the line. So he could watch the line and everything like that. And Coach Strader had the center. Our center required a one-person coach because that was, heck, if our center can't do the job, we got no offense. Okay. All right. And then so I could coach the backs. So I'd get Coach Williams to go down somewhere on the practice field with a particular player, one specific player on defense. Okay. And then some guys that maybe we had a few extra that are standing around, not the other team's defense over there and not our offense. Okay. They go down with Coach Williams and they work on something specific to Friday night's opponent. Well, Lunenburg had one of their big plays was a play like what you're talking about. In fact, they scored on the darn play. No, I'm wrong about that. That was a pitch out at that first touchdown.
Yeah, it wasn't. They didn't score.
We scored on that play. We scored on their play. All right.
Well, when Maurice picked it and went 34 yards to the house
and send it in deep and then flare out the back, you know, going down the sideline. So, Coach Williams, you take Maurice Milton, who was our strong safety, our so-called Spartan. You take Maurice and a handful of kids, and you work on that single play.
I never knew this. I've never heard this story.
Yeah, well, he'd take Maurice down in the corner. Now, next week, it might be somebody different.
But hold on now.
On the other team.
So y'all repped Maurice Milton.
Yes.
My brother from another.
Right.
On that specific play.
Absolutely.
And it ultimately came to fruition with the game-turning, state championship-turning play.
Absolutely.
Dang, I never knew that.
Awesome.
I had been down to Powell Valley the year before. Okay, and watched Powell Valley and Lunenburg Central play in the state championship game. Okay, at Powell Valley. What was one of Lunenburg's favorite plays? That play. All right. Your senior year, the year we beat them in the state championship game. Right. I was telling my wife this the other day. Our open date, every coach on our staff would go scout somebody. We didn't all go scout the same team. You know, Coach Kelly go scout somebody. Coach Ellison go somewhere. Coach Strader and I go somewhere. We go somewhere different. Okay. I took our principal. He went with me. Steve Fitch went with me, and we drove to Victoria, Virginia, which is about a 4 or 5 hour drive, to watch Lunenburg Central play Powhatan. a team that 2 or 3 years later beat us in the state championship, okay, down at Midlothian. But so we go down and we scout Lunenburg again. Same play. Same play I saw the year before down at Powell Valley versus Powell Valley. So Coach Williams takes Maurice down and reps him, on that play. So what happens in the game? They run that play. And Maurice is sitting out there in the flat just looking for it. What happens? You tell me.
Oh, I can tell you exactly what happened. In fact, I'm finding it on YouTube right now because I'm going to show these folks before we listen. This is what happened because it happened literally right in front of me because Maurice, as the Spartan, lines up basically as an edge rusher type of position, like an outside linebacker positioning in that particular defensive scheme. And I was the cornerback flanking his back left. All right. So quarterback takes a snap, short little kind of roll to his right, to our left. All right. And I'm backpedaling back into my third, and I see the football come out. And I see 11, the fastest dude on our team, step in front of this pass, pick this pass off, and as great as athletes as Lunenburg had, and they did, they weren't going to catch that cat. And he took that thing 34 yards to the house. And, I mean, it's like it lives in Technicolor for me while also feeling like I blacked out in that moment. Because Rick, I'm telling you, man, Coach, I don't think this is a hyperbolic statement. There must have been 10,000 people at this football game. I mean, it was our whole county was there, and a lot of people from surrounding counties were there. And Lunenburg had several hundred people come all the way across the state.
Lunenburg fans weren't there. They were down in Walmart buying overcoats. because if you recall, the day before that game, one of the things I told you all in our kind of, Thursday type practice where we go over everything a little bit was this. And I knew this for a fact because my dad was from Lunenburg County. Yeah. And in fact, my uncle worked for a construction company out of Richmond, Virginia, who built Lunenburg High School.
Oh, my
called
gosh.
Lunenburg Central. All right. And I went down there with my dad in the summer because we'd go down there every summer and walked around that school when I was just a kid while it was being built. Okay. But, shoot, what was I going to say?
I got our play here. You guys ready?
Oh, gosh. I don't know. Maybe it'll come to me in a minute.
All right, here we go.
But I had something there. You said something.
All right, watch this.
Oh, we got it.
That's it right there. Run it back again. Can you run it back?
The reason I know it's 34 yards is because
Let's just see it again.
Mr. Harold Chafin, who was our public address announcer, I grew up as a boy first kind of idolizing Mr. Chafin's son, Steve, and Kyle Cunningham. They were my favorite Spartans when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And dreaming of Mr. Chafin saying my name. And when Mo picked off that pass, I'm going to turn this all the way up. You can hear Mr. Chafin say, Maurice Milton, 34 yards, touchdown, Spartans. Here we go. Here we go.
Here it is, right here.
Steps in front of that pass. House call, Jack.
Yeah, that turned the whole game around, man.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
that turned the entire football game around. I'm gonna tell you, man, like
That's great.
I'm gonna be 50 years old in April. There are certain days in my life that are lines of demarcation in my path. Marrying Laney 25 years ago, having Cameron 20 years ago, Mia 16 years ago, Vivian 13 years ago. But that day right there, is one of the most special days of my entire life. And for so many different reasons, but I still watch that. I watch that right now. And I've watched that tape right there 100,000 times. And I still feel it. I still feel it. And there will be people who mock that or laugh at that, but that is such a, what's up, Mike?
What's up, Mike?
How you guys
Mike,
doing?
how you doing?
I am living the dream. Listen to this stuff now.
Good, good.
I'm just so happy I could see Rags. The last time I couldn't see him.
There you go. There you go.
Technology has come around, my man.
Well, Mike, what you don't know is it took Coach 3 or 4 false starts before he figured out how to get on there.
He had 20 yards in.
That's right. Yeah, I get nervous. You know, I get that we were talking about being nervous before the game and everything like that. You know, I'm nervous as hell the night before we do this. Worrying about whether I can get the video to work or not.
No, it's perfect.
But
Yeah.
let me tell a little story here on this. Watching that tape brings back our uniforms. Okay,
Greatest of all time.
History on our uniforms. When I first took the head football job, our uniforms were drab as they could be. Our colors are red, white, and it's called Columbia blue.
Columbia blue.
All right, which is kind of a dull, drab looking blue. Well, my first year, we're still wearing the uniforms of previous years. That drab blue jersey and drab blue pants. Okay. So I said to myself, we got to change this, man. We got to change this. Well, growing up, my kind of hero was a player, and Mike Burnop will know who I'm talking about here, was a guy by the name of Carroll Dale, okay, who was a receiver for Virginia Tech. He made several All-American teams, all right, got drafted by the Los Angeles Rams, played in L.A. for a couple, 2 or 3 years, then got traded to the Green Bay Packers. Now, the Green Bay Packers at this time were in their heyday under Vince Lombardi. All right. And Carroll Dale went up there and he played in the first 2 Super Bowls, was one of their wide receivers, along with Boyd Dowler was the other wide receiver. And their tight end, maybe Marv Fleming. I'm not sure whether that's right or not. But
and Max McGee.
Bart Starr was their quarterback. Max McGee was a wide receiver. Of course, Bart Starr was their quarterback. And so our uniforms right there that we're looking at are a exact copy of the Green Bay Packers, except instead of being in green, white, and so-called gold, they're in red, white, and blue. All right. The jersey is red instead of being green, if you're at home. All right. The number on the jersey is white, as was the Packers. The number was white. Okay. The pant is the other color. For the Packers, it was yellow or gold. Ours was white. Packers had a stripe down the side of the pants. We had a stripe down the side of the pants. Okay. The stripe on the sleeve by name is called the Green Bay stripe.
No way.
When you order jerseys, our jerseys, we got our jerseys from Champion Knitwear. All right. And when me and a guy by the name of John Ingleby at the time was working for Graves Humphreys out of Roanoke, when we were working up our scheme, all right, actually, that wouldn't have been John because I bought those directly from Champion. But Champion salesman, I said, I want the same stripe on our jerseys that Green Bay has on theirs. And when you buy stripes like on jerseys like that, when you set it up, you know, there's a Northwestern stripe, there's a Steelers stripe, there's a Green Bay Packer stripe. So ours was the Green Bay Packer stripe. And so that's where our uniforms came from. We copied Green Bay's uniform. And on the helmet at that time, we had a G. And I think they may have had a G on the side of their helmet. I can't remember. Stripe down the middle was the same type of pattern as theirs. It wasn't a single stripe. It's like one down the middle and then two whites. And then the middle one was red, and then the two or maybe it's the other way around. The two on the side were red. Blue, I think, in the middle, white, then red. Okay. All right. Not only that, but I just idolized Vince Lombardi. I bought every book I could find on Vince Lombardi, either by Vince Lombardi or about Vince Lombardi. All right. I got them sitting upstairs on my shelf right now. I got a video. Vince Lombardi wrote a book, Lombardi on Football. Okay. It's a 2-volume thing. In fact, Mike, I saw this book when we took our Florida trip, when you all took me with you on that Florida trip, at the guy I was talking to you about the last time, who was with you down at Jacksonville, he played at Notre Dame, and I slept on the couch. All right, and he had this book down there. Okay. Vince Lombardi on Football, where he covers offense, defense, kicking game, the whole thing. And there's a set of videotapes that go with it, VHS tapes that go with it. I can see him now up there on the chalkboard. You make a seal here and you make a seal. This is the vaunted Green Bay sweep. You make a seal here and you make a seal there, and then you run the ball in the alley. All right. And by the way, he mentions the single wing in that book. His Green Bay sweep was patterned after the single wing sweep of the guy coached at the University of Pittsburgh. Oh, shoot. But they ran a single wing sweep, and he copied his Green Bay sweep off of that, pulled both guards. The tight end over there is like the key blocker, and you run off of his block and so on. And Jock Sutherland maybe was the coach at Pitt, but he mentions in his book, in the foreword to his book, those great Pitt single wing sweeps. All right. But anyway, I read every book I could get on Vince Lombardi and patterned everything, kind of my coaching style. You know, how do you compare me or Vince Lombardi? You know, they talk about now, like, for example, Kansas City's won, several Super Bowls, Well, good God Almighty. Vince Lombardi, I think I got my figures right. See, he won several NFL championships before there was a Super Bowl.
Right.
All right. And then he won the first 2 Super Bowls. I'm thinking that the Packers won in a 7-year span. I'm thinking this is right. It could be off by 1 game. They won 5 NFL championships in a 7-year period. All right.
Yep.
So
All right.
I read Jerry Kramer's book, you name it. If I could find something that had Lombardi on it, I read it. And I think he was the master. Could see he after they won, I don't know, the second Super Bowl, he got out of it.
Yep.
And he was general manager for the Packers for a couple of years, and then he decided he wanted to get back into coaching, and the Redskins hired him, and he coached with them for about 3 or 4 years, and then he got cancer. I think it was lung cancer, and died at an early age, or he'd have probably, at that time the Redskins weren't very good, but they were getting better, I think, because of him. But anyway. That watching that uniform go in front of me just reminded me of that.
Before we bid adieu and let Mike talk about the Virginia Tech Hokies or whatever he's going to pontificate on, let me just show you the play I was talking about earlier. I found it. Watch how close I was to getting torched for 6. This is the play. All right. Steps back. I mean, I was so close to just getting torched right there. Thank God I didn't.
Good sportsmanship, too. I like the fact you helped the kid out.
I'm going to say this about Marty, and I think I said this the other time. Marty's strengths were, we talked about do what you've been coached to do and do it all out. Marty did that. He wasn't real fast. He wasn't real big. He wasn't real strong. Okay.
What did you compare his speed to, Coach?
Plow mule.
I've talked about my dad a bunch on this show, and on tobacco farms, they worked mules. They used mules. My dad growing up, everything they did was with mules. He plowed the fields, he and his 2 brothers, behind mules who pulled the plow. All right. And in fact, I as a young kid, a little boy, would go down there, and they had a sharecropper on that farm, still raising tobacco, and tobacco is like something that's, God, it's hard work because it's got to be done by hand. All right. And they were still using mules, to plow and to, you got to go out and you got to do what's called sucker the tobacco. You got to go out and get the tobacco worms off of the plants. And then you got to pick the leaves as they get ripe, and you haul them into the tobacco barn on a mule, and then you hang them up on these racks to let it dry out. All right. So Marty was a mule. Okay. He wasn't secretariat. He was a mule, but he was a consistent mule, and he was smart, and he did what he was coached to do. And believe it or not, he was our deep man on punt returns. All right. Now, the other team would have had to leave the field entirely if Marty was going to run one back for a touchdown. All right. But he had good hands. He played basketball. He played baseball. He had great hands, and he was smart, and he would do what we wanted him to do, which was catch the ball and don't fumble it. Just catch it. And there I'm using a negative. You shouldn't say don't do something, because that's just exactly what you'll do. Catch the ball. And he was great at that. He'd catch the football.
Here's what he said don't do.
20 yards with it rolling down the field, he'd have it in good position. By the way, this is something that bugs the dickens out of me. Watching football on TV. Why in the world would you call for a fair catch on your own 5-yard line?
I was just about to say this.
What had you got to gain by that? You're saving 5 yards. And if you fumble it, you're going to give up 6 points more than likely. So why in the world would you do that? I can't remember, Marty, exactly what our rule was, but
I do. I can tell you right now.
I know if you ever tried to catch the ball inside the 10-yard line, and it may have been the 15-yard line.
No, it was the 10.
Most of the balls that come down inside the 10 are going to end up in the end zone. Now, they'll get some of them, but
every
not all
time I went out there, you would grab me by the jersey and say, plant your feet on the 10-yard line. If the ball's over your head, let it go.
That's it.
If it's in front of you,
you got more to lose than you got to gain.
I will say, I remember one time I was playing on the 10. I don't remember who we were playing, Grayson County or somebody, and it was like a line drive kind of punt. And I reached, hell, it might have been Hayside in the rain. All I know is I like reached up and happened to snag it. Thank God. Because it could have been a disaster if I didn't. Okay, look, I love y'all. I got to go to the dentist.
Dog, thanks, brother. Hey,
we'll think about you, Marty. We'll think about that drill.
Ain't gonna be a drill, man.
For the next hour.
Baby. These are well cared for.
Merry
love
Christmas,
y'all.
man. Hey, we'll see you next month. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Good talking to you, man, Marty.
Marty's
Have a
a
good
triple
Christmas.
threat.
Thanks, guys. Love y'all. See
Later,
you.
brother.
Marty.
Be safe, man. You good?
Hey, Mike,
Coach,
how you doing?
Coach, you
I
hit
know
it.
Marty was the triple threat.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was a triple threat.
Coach, you may worry about this segment, but you always win a Super Bowl, brother. It's great, man. You're great every time.
Well,
every time.
Did the best I could do, but I had a heck of a lot of fun.
Great.
Can't hear you,
Mike,
Rick.
I was down in your neck of the woods there the other day at our girls' volleyball. They hold the state play championship games in the. You can't hear. Down in the Salem Civic Center. So I was pointing out to my wife as we drove by to go to the game, hey, that's where Mike Burnop lived, right there in that house.
There you go. There you go. Coach.
Enjoyed it, man.
Thanks, and me as well. You take care. We'll see you next month. Happy New Year.
Everybody have a good New Year, good
Merry
Christmas.
Merry
Good
Christmas.
seeing you, Mike.
Take care, man. All right. Great stuff from Coach Ragsdale. Mike, can you hear me now? I don't think Mike can hear me.
Can't hear you, Rick.
Let's see here. I wonder why. Let me send you another invite. I wonder why. I can hear Mike loud and clear. Let me see here. Let me send Mike another email here. Thanks to Marty and Rags, by the way, sponsored by Farm Bureau Insurance, that entire segment. I'm going to send Mike another invite.
Audio's gone.
Yeah. I'm sending you another invite. Okay. Let's try that right there, Mike. Let me let Mike know here. All right. Sent another invite. All right. Sometimes that happens. How great was that, by the way? I mean, that was a lot of fun. We're going a little bit over today, but I don't think anybody cares. Let's see if that fixes. Can everybody else hear me? I can hear myself. Can everybody else hear me? Okay. Somebody shoot me a message. Can you hear me okay? Can anybody hear me okay? Or did we lose the stream? All right, good. We're good. Okay, I'm going to see if Mike can get us back. So something there, I don't know what happened. Okay, everybody can hear me. Get Mike back on here. All right, thanks, everybody. Thanks to Marty and Rags, by the way, and Farm Bureau Insurance. That was a lot of fun. That gets better and better every time. Every time. That gets better than better every time. How about now, Mike? You got me?
I got you now. When Marty left, that was it. I couldn't hear a thing.
It kind of, I heard a click, and it was weird, too, because Coach got delayed. But, hey, we're good now, man. So thanks for hanging on with us. Of course, Mike Burnop brought to you each and every appearance as we segue out of one sponsored segment in the other by Louise Baker Long and Foster. How you been, brother?
I've been doing good. That was just hilarious. Just listen to that. Story after story, and God, those guys are hilarious. And Rags, he's got a great memory.
I don't see how he does it, man. Well, you do too. It's incredible the things that you guys can just have picturesque memory and everything. But,
I love that, getting down on Marty. She was like the triple threat.
He was, yeah.
He's slow. He can't run.
The old barn mule. I love it. All right. So I know we're not getting a lot of information right now out of the football program, but we know some coaches things are churning. What's the latest on what you're hearing about the staff?
Well, most of them are not being retained. That's the big thing. I guess he kept Fontel Mines, the wide receiver coach, who's a guy that he tried to get up to Penn State several times, and Brent Pry had to keep kind of up in his salary and give him a different title. So I thought that was great because Fontel's a really good recruiter, good coach. And Matt Moore, I'm glad he kept him. You know, Matt Moore did a good job with that makeshift offensive line all year, the way they were able to run the ball. And that way he can retain some of those guys that he had on the line. And he's got some good linemen coming in. So that was encouraging as well. So the offensive staff is pretty much filled out. The defensive staff are still kind of working on, and that's still a work in progress. But he's getting there. It's just taking a little bit of time, and he wants to make sure it gets it right.
And some rumors about Coach Rocco at VMI may be joining soon. New running backs coach out of Georgia Tech. Looks like things are starting to fill out here. And, great timing to get a gift like Tech received yesterday, right? Going into the portal and everything else, right? How about that news? That's got to be encouraging to anybody who's out there maybe wanting to make Blacksburg part of their future, right?
That was really nice of you, Rick, to do that. Man, oh, man.
Hey, it's the least I can do, Mike. You weren't supposed to tell.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal gift, and much needed, and it'll be well used. And I know that takes a lot of the pressure off of Virginia Tech. Coach Franklin had knowing that they got that money there. So, yeah, that's going to be a unbelievable act of kindness and a great gift.
Yeah, there's no question about it. So we'll find out more as things progress here with the staff, and we don't know much about players yet. Have you heard anything about? I know he's had those tough conversations, I'm sure, with some of those guys. We don't know much about personnel on the field being retained, do we, player-wise yet?
No, we don't yet. It'll all obviously come here in a little bit. The portal opens January 2nd, so you're going to see a lot of movement from a lot of teams, and there'll be guys at Virginia Tech that'll be in it, and there are guys in Penn State that'll be in it. So we'll see what happens, how it flushes out. I think now they're just evaluating what they have, what they want to keep, bringing in the new recruits, and then, okay, what do we need help at? What areas do we need help? And that's what they'll get from the portal and try to shore that up. I mean, clearly you got to get another quarterback somewhere. So that'll be a top priority as well.
Yeah, 100%. And, they're just doing what every program in the country is doing now with the budget they have. You're right. It's selective free agency all over the country, and find out how to plug those holes and get ready for team number one for Coach Franklin in Blacksburg. So
yeah, that's it. The schedule will be released, I think, at 4:00 today. Not necessarily the dates, but who they're going to play home and away and all that. And that's going to be interesting. The Hokies are going to have a couple trips. It looks like got to go out west, I think, to play Cal maybe and maybe SMU. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting schedule with a lot of travel in the away games. I think it's going to be a 6-6 home and away, where last year they had 7, which is kind of nice. But that's still something that Coach Franklin will have to work on moving forward with the ACC going to those 9 games.
Yeah, that's right. You got to adjust the whole non-con now. Everything's got to change. Everything's got to change. Well, let's talk some hoops real quick. They're taking care of the Hokies, at home. This month, we had JD Byers on last week, and this schedule has been very challenging, but now they're trying to build all the momentum they can. What have you seen, Mike, as you watch this team every night? What are you more impressed with, how they continue to develop now?
Well, I think they're just getting more and more comfortable, first of all, playing without Toby Lawal, right? That's a big thing because he goes down in the Bahamas, and I think they were kind of lost there for a couple of games. Not that they would have beat St. Mary's or VCU, but, it was kind of difficult getting those other guys up to snuff, right, playing and taking his minutes. So they've kind of got used to that now. It's been a big plus. I think, you can move a guy like Hansberry around and not make him play the 5, make him play the 4. He's a really good power forward, which lets Tyler Johnson be his thing. And so, I think the big guys have come along. Dorn didn't play much the other day because he kind of hurt his back, but Gerdock came out and gave him really good minutes. He didn't miss a field goal. I think he had 13 points in the game. So, and those big guys are coming along, so that's been impressive. And Neo, he continues to show why he's such a great player, unbelievable passer. And it's kind of just fun watching him play and knowing that you're going to see him at the next level next year.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And Hansberry, that guy didn't get enough credit. 2 games in a row, 6 assists. And 2 games in a row and no turnovers. My gosh, that guy can pass. He's a player now.
He might be my favorite new addition. I mean, I know Neo's he's gifted beyond belief, but I love Hansberry. That guy. He's
a bully down inside now. And
He
can
is.
shoot outside. He's a big time player. Yeah.
Mike Burnop brought to you by Louise Baker, the Louise Baker team, Long and Foster, 540-320-0382. And Louise is going to have more tickets coming up for men's and women's hoops here on the program. As we settle in now, Mike gets to enjoy some not traveling for a change here throughout the month of November. Are you ready at all for the holidays? I'm not ready for Christmas or anything yet. Have you gotten ready yet?
No, I still got some stuff to do. Yeah, this week will be a good week to try to catch up on that since we won't be traveling. And I got the Elon Phoenix here on Saturday. And, that'll be it till we play UVA. So ACC play starts after this weekend. So that'll be fun. UVA is going to be fun. I just hate the students won't be there. It won't be quite as good an atmosphere, but that's just the way it is.
I know. It's hard, and we get all these questions, even at Radford, like it's hard for conferences to think ahead of time, but you would think they would understand that and not have those rival games be the ones to kick off conference play when the students aren't around to be part of it. But
I know. Yeah, it's just the way it is. When you got 18 teams in the league and you're dealing with all kinds of stuff, it's hard to get everybody squared away, and I can't imagine how they do it.
What's your thought on some of these games real quick, Mike, coming up playoff-wise? Well, who do you like? I'm really interested in that Miami game. I think Miami A&M, that could be like one of the big upsets of that first round, in my opinion.
I think so, too. Yeah, I think that's a game either team could win. Obviously, A&M's probably got a little chip on their shoulder. So does Miami.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that should be a fun one to watch. And even how about the Alabama-Oklahoma? I mean, that's going to be interesting because they keep talking about Caleb DeBoer and all that. And, yeah, who knows what might happen there if they lose that game, their season's over. So that should be interesting as well. But there's some really good matchups. It's going to be a fun weekend for sure, starting Friday night.
And I wish the best for James Madison and Tulane. It's great stories, but we kind of know what's likely going to happen. But we already seen the Tulane Ole Miss thing once, right? It's going to be the same. But, JMU making a once-in-a-lifetime trip out to Oregon, I mean, it's going to be a great experience for them nonetheless. There's
no doubt. And obviously, Ole Miss without Lane Kiffin could be a different team. And some of their players might not be totally invested now, with him leaving and whatnot. They might have their guard down a little bit. So, yeah, I'm sure they'll give them all they got, both of those teams, because they got absolutely nothing to lose.
Yeah, well, we shall see how all the playoff unfolds here coming up. But, Mike, it's always great to see you. And thanks for enjoying that with us with Rags. And
that was great.
I know one thing. Coach Ragsdale's face lit up when he saw you. You could tell he wanted to get into something. I could tell he was going to get into something Virginia Tech-wise. You could just tell it. You could just tell it. So.
What a hoot. He's something else.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to see after all those false starts, he's now coachable. He can get online.
That's right. That's true. You didn't get to see him last time, did you?
No, he wasn't on. He couldn't get it hooked up there.
Well, he looks great. And
his
mind still works like he should be coaching.
Yeah,
right?
Marty busting his chops about it. That was hilarious.
Yeah, that was great. That was great. Well, all right, brother. Well, listen, man, stay safe. Enjoy a little bit of downtime, if you will. And
are you on next week?
Yeah, I won't be doing Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, but I'll go on for a couple of days. If you have time, let me know if it'll work out for you. Yeah.
All right.
Just hit me up and let me know. So.
Well, yeah, and then make sure everybody out there. I hope everybody has a great Christmas. If I don't see them or talk to them, enjoy the season, and I hope it's great with family and friends.
Absolutely.
And be here before you know it.
I know. It's here now. Just no more 9-degree temperatures. We don't need that anymore.
Wow. Frost on the pumpkin. That pumpkin is frozen.
That pumpkin's frozen open.
Gone.
It's gone. It's gone. All right, brother. Stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks,
we'll
Mike.
do. See you now. Okay.
There you go. Mike Burnop, of course, his appearance brought to you by Louise Baker, Long and Foster Realtors, 540-320-0382. Thanks for everybody today. Good stuff. Ran a little overtime today, but that's okay. Great to hear from Mike, and I'm glad he enjoyed that with Marty and Rags, as we all did. That was great stuff, man. Appreciate these opportunities. You get to hear mine like Coach Ragsdale and see Marty and the reverence and everything. It's really special, man. It's really special. That should get your Tuesday off to a good start. All right. Everybody take care. Stay safe. And we will be back here and see you tomorrow. Matt Roan, Tater himself, will be here. He says he's got a lot of things he wants to talk about. We're going to find out a lot about JMU and what went on with the coaching search. Coach Chesley, we're going to get some insider stuff tomorrow. Don't want to miss it. We'll see you on the Hump Day edition, everybody. Take care. Thanks again to all of our guests here today. Thanks to Coach Ragsdale. Thanks to Marty. And thanks to Mike. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody.